Hey kids, John here. I've been asked to talk about mouthpieces. I'm going to break this video down into a couple of different sections. Let's start with the concept of how to choose a mouthpiece. Now, let's look at a very basic way to find out a couple things about the mouthpiece that maybe is best for you, or at least a starting place to find a mouthpiece that's a good mouthpiece for you. When we talk about how big is a mouthpiece, we're talking about a couple things. All right? We're talking about from here to here on the inside across the mouthpiece. That's the inside diameter. Okay? And that section determines the width of the mouthpiece. That's what we call the ID, or inside diameter. And that's a very important measurement to many trumpet players. And then you also have the outside diameter, which is the outer section of the rim. So the width across the outside. And if you use those two numbers, you can figure out how wide the rim is. And the other thing is the cup. So that cup depth can be very big, or it can be very small. How do you start? How do you find where you should begin? You should be able to go to a good music store and find a Bach 1.5C, a Bach 3C, a Bach 5C, a Bach 7C, and possibly a Bach 10.5C. That's 5 mouthpieces. Those have 5 different rims. And they're going to feel different on your face. But they're all C cups. You get a C cup in each of those rim sizes. You're playing on the same kind of cup. You're only basically changing one parameter. If you've got a very wide, like a 1 or 1.5 Bach C, that cup is quite a ways across. When you do narrow it, you are changing the shape and the total interior volume, this area here in the cup. When the rim is getting smaller, the cup is not necessarily getting shallower, but you're losing volume in the cup. You play them each, and whichever one feels and sounds the best to you determines rim diameter. That is the easiest way I can help you determine a rim diameter that's probably going to work for you. So if the 3 sounds the best, your rim diameter is basically a Bach 3C rim diameter. If the 5, if the 7, and as you grow or age, this can change. You may be more comfortable on a different rim diameter. But just to start out and find the first parameter of what you're looking for, you need to find a rim that feels comfortable. Now that rim may not be the most comfortable, but once you determine the diameter, then you can look for other shapes of rims, because you can get a mouthpiece comparison chart somewhere online. They exist everywhere. And you can compare what matches up to a Bach 3 or 5 or whatever Bach mouthpiece, because again, Bach is so easy to find, and chances are you can find a store that has those, so you can figure out rim diameter. Okay, rim diameter, boom, you figured that out. Now we're going to go to cup depth. That's the second parameter, and it depends upon the type of music you're going to play. If you're a young player, middle of the road mouthpiece, a C cup, probably no problem. Young players, I think 5C, 7C, if you're real young, it gets you started, and as you grow, you can go different directions. You can change the cup depth, you can change your rim diameter, but cup depth is important. Large cups tend to be considered dark mouthpieces, and when I say dark, what I mean is it's got a nice mellow sound. I'm going to use mellow, or there's not as many highs in the sound, there's a little bit more lows in the sound, it's not as pointed, it doesn't have as much edge, that kind of stuff. It's not, it's, okay? So this is a 1C. Nice sound, very consistent. playing the upper register on it. Now, if I'm going to go into the extreme upper register, okay, I can do it. All right, so this is a 3 C. Already there's a little bit of color difference. Yeah, that top C, let's just back to back them. That's the 3, and that's the 1. So there's a color difference, and what I mean by that is, again, how many highs or how focused maybe you hear the sound. There's also a feel difference. I can play a 3 easier than I can play a 1. So as far as the cup depth, the rim feels all right, but the cup depth isn't necessarily what I'm looking for. So when you go through your series of 1, 3, 5, 7, 10 and a half, if you come up with that rim diameter, the next parameter then is the cup. And again, when you're talking about cup depth, you're talking about some tonality and the way it feels to your face. But you have a sound in your head, so which cup depth then gives you that sound you have in your head? What is giving you that sound? So the second parameter to me is cup depth, and I'm looking for the sound I like. Now we're into a sound that I dig. I'm into that sound. So here's the sound that this is where it begins for me, that I hear in my head. Now, here's that 1 C. The essence is there, but there's something missing. It doesn't feel right. I'm working to create the sound that I hear. I'm working to create the sound that I hear. It's not just automatic. Boom. That's so much more comfortable. So this cup, which it doesn't matter what it is, okay? This is my cup. This is the cup I use. That's a sound that I have in my head. It's what it is. That's my sound. So for me, this is a cup depth that gets me started into what I hear. Now, where I really hear myself play is in a slightly smaller cup depth. But again, I'm a commercial player, so this is the sound that I have in my head. Ooh, pow, pow. Yeah, I'm not working. Ooh, yeah, I like that. See? And I like it. Maybe you don't. That's okay. A little bit of that rasp, that is out of it. Back to my commercial. Woo, that lights things up. What's your cup depth? Is it giving me the sound that I want? Is it making it easier for me to play the way I want to play? The next thing that lies in this, there are different backbores. This is where you're really fine-tuning it. And you have to have access to the same rim and cup with different backbores if you're going to go down that road. And backbores can change the tonality, again, the bright, dark aspect of it. You can get maybe a bigger core or slightly less core, and the way it feels in the back pressure that you receive from playing it. All three things have to work together, rim, cup, and backbore. And the last piece of the component is the bore, which is the straight section here. In here, you have that hole down there. A lot of people say the throats, but there's, as you can see, a hole right there. Okay? How big is that hole? It's determined by the bore, which is a straight section. That is the actual diameter or size of that hole. And I highly recommend not going in and actually taking a drill and opening that up. There's a lot of guys that will be out there and say, man, if you just open up that throat, that's a common statement. People want to open the throat when they feel like the mouthpiece is too tight. My recommendation is if the mouthpiece works really good, back off. You're probably trying to put too much energy into the mouthpiece. Let the mouthpiece work for you. Because every component has to be balanced with the other component. The cup, the bore, and the back bore have to be balanced so that it plays in tune and plays well. If you can't play in the upper register, is my mouthpiece too big? So that's the one, and I can play up there. If I had to play up there on a commercial lead trumpet gig, I'm going to be working harder than I want to work because of the sound that I'm hearing. So if you're hearing the right sound in the cup that you have, it's the right sound, but you're struggling to get into the upper register, my guess is the cup or the size of the cup isn't necessarily the problem. Okay? So that brings me to the concept of cheater mouthpieces. There are people out there that call small cup, small diameter mouthpieces cheater mouthpieces. Okay, I'm going to pick up one of the most cheater mouthpieces you can possibly have. This is a Stomvi-USA Jim Flex, Jim Manley's mouthpiece, basically, and it is just incredibly small. Again, there's a kind of a side view. We go back to the one. You can compare the one. When you do a side view, you don't even see the bottom of that mouthpiece when I do that. But here, when I do that, you can see the bottom of the mouthpiece. Okay, so there's not very much room in here. Okay. So if this is a cheater mouthpiece, I should be able to play it super easy. All right? I'm not making this up. Let's be straight. I'm not making this up. I'm trying so hard to be super relaxed. I mean, like, because that's the only way you're going to be able to play one of these. I can't play the mouthpiece. I mean, you got to be kidding me, right? I'm not feeling like I'm cheating. I'm feeling like I'm beaten. If this is a cheater mouthpiece, how come I can't just pick it up and scream? The player that can play, quote, a cheater mouthpiece has developed an incredible skill, and that is to play so efficiently that they can play a tiny mouthpiece. Give it a try sometime. Get the smallest mouthpiece you can find and see if you can even get out of the staff. I'm probably at the very deep end of the shallow mouthpiece range. I can go up. And I can go down. That's the right mouthpiece for me. I hope some of this helps. It's just a basic beginning to mouthpiece concepts and maybe how to get yourself directed towards a mouthpiece that's the best for you. Till next time, take it easy, kids.